Let's talk anime. Hello and welcome to Brandon's Discuss Anime, a 15 plus Reckless Amoeba podcast. I am your host, Brandon Horvath, and with me are my co-host, Brandon Falinger.
I propose an edit. This is not anime, even though a lot of the fan art suggests that it might be.
And pre-production on this had sketches that look very, very anime-esque.
I mean, you kind of had to have something to create these things off of. You can't just go in and be like, I'm going to slap things in there. You got to plan out how they're built.
And also with us, and probably confused, Ryan Stokely.
Yep, you got it.
So, besides the obvious serious thing that we will probably not be talking about.
Yeah, I don't want to get shut down by YouTube.
Yeah.
Apparently, you have to call it a health crisis.
I don't even know if that's going to
And
be
not
good
what
enough
it's
at this
called.
point.
Yeah.
We're going to call it, look, we'll call it this. We'll call it Verona Sanchez is here.
Verona Sanchez.
Verona Yang? Is that good enough?
Okay, Verona Yang.
It rhymes.
Besides that, anything else going on, guys?
Aside the fact that all three of us are technically considered essential employees here
Yes.
and still have our jobs at this moment and not quarantined,
We are essential.
unfortunately, which means
Also, apparently podcasting is considered essential, so we're also essential there to our
Yay!
three listeners
I mean,
Thank
hey
you.
man,
for
Hey.
making it double essential.
we're gonna double our sub count from 3 to 6.
Yes,
Yes!
we will spread like the current situation. We are actually renaming this.
Look, man, I'm just saying. All right, I'm just saying. When's Weird Al gonna put out that new song called "My Corona"?
Yes.
He's clearly talking about the beer, nothing to do with the current situation at all.
All I have is hard seltzer at my house.
Oh my god.
Oh, actually, here, let me shout something out quick. Because I heard about this and I want to go and take a look at some of the VODs for it. Apparently, DJ Weed off of Twitch is just hosting a bunch of people calling in about their current situations that are going on because of this shit, which is fascinating to hear what other people are having to put up with, and like not just in the States but other countries as well. Like what it is like over in those places.
Oh, like, dude, I just want to know how every Italian has a balcony.
It's Italy.
I wish I had a balcony.
They all have pizza ovens too. Didn't you know that?
Yeah, dude.
They have pizza ovens and pasta makers.
Yep. And a bottle of like old oil handed down past.
So here's what I want to know. All right, here's what I want to know. If they have a lockdown, how are they shutting down all the green warp pipes?
Oh man.
I mean, what are you going to tell those poor bullet bills? They just got to stop? They can't move anymore?
Poor plants too.
The poor piranha plants are just going to wilt and die because nobody's watering them.
Yeah. Also, they have to go through checkpoints. They have no reason to go up the pipes besides shoot fireballs at the Italians.
I mean, Bowser's probably crying his eyes out because he's not allowed to leave the castle and take Peach.
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to
stuck
do?
in
I'm so
sewers.
bored.
Oh
Mario
my
just,
god.
like, just sadly jumping in, like, with himself in his house because he's not allowed to leave.
Luigi has no idea what's going on because nobody's talked to him in a while.
Luigi's been quarantining himself for months already.
Yeah.
He was already scared.
Yeah, once he found out that they got a free Pornhub subscription,
He was gone.
Gone.
He's just checking out Princess Daisy's channel.
Her OnlyFans.
Oh god.
Yeah,
I just like to imagine Mario just sadly jumping in his house. It's like, this is the only exercise I get now.
He just punching holes in his ceiling.
Wahoo!
Just accidentally punching holes.
Yeah.
I swore I hit a one up here somewhere.
Woohoo!
Just smoking oregano. He's like, I need something.
The toads are just like losing their minds. I'm just like, there's nothing to do. They're turning cannibalistic. They're just eating themselves.
So what's
I did see that because of the situation, the Japan subway is pretty much shut down. So people are taking pictures of empty subways, and on Twitter, I am pretty sure it's Twitter, is a thing going on where people are turning subways into RPG dungeons.
It's pretty good. Oh man, with the subway shut down, that'd be great. That'd be a great LARPing place to do it too, if it's like completely shut down, because now it's just empty tunnels. You run into a sewer rat. What will you do?
But I saw there was one Japanese subway that's like 3 stories, and it's like a little bit maze-like.
Oh no, that would be really cool, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. And this is something Google could do, actually, would be to do shit like this. Well, like, you know how if you go to Google Maps, you can like have that interactive map where you have like the 3D view and you can click on where you're going to go, right?
Yeah.
What if they did that for like the subway system in Japan, and then you take that and turn that whole situation into an RPG and like encounters and shit?
Ooh.
Like you overlay that shit.
Ooh.
Like they could do that for regular Google Maps too. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, kind of like Pokemon Go.
Yeah, but you're actually playing an RPG instead. And you can do it without actually leaving your fucking house. There's no hazard of throwing yourself into like restricted areas or dangerous places. Yeah. But you get to like see the pictures of these sites that you've never seen before. God damn it, I should really just start selling these ideas to people instead of just putting them out there for free.
Yeah, we could be making money.
I could be making money. These are my ideas, man.
Damn it, point for you. At least I got a point last week.
Fuck you. Just fuck you for that one.
Dude.
Be sure to check out our Boku no Hero Academia from last week to find out why Brandon hates me so much.
Hey, last week and the week prior.
Yeah, I think it may be episode 22.
21 and 22, because 21 was the lead up and 22 was when it really hit.
Oh, okay.
That shit hit the fan.
So, I guess...
speaking of RPGs, I've been playing Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition lately. That shit is shockingly really good for a game from 1998, even if it has been remastered. It's shockingly still really good. The character models are kind of garbage, but like outside of that, the rest of it, the gameplay, the art, it's still really solid. Like the map art, not the character sprites. It's pretty solid. Even though the audio's a little bit dated, let's say, like you can tell that they're not the greatest microphones they're using. They're more closer to amateur hour the way we are right now, maybe a little worse, because it was 98. Probably earlier when those were recorded, actually, so maybe 90, 97. No, it's fun. I've been enjoying it a lot, actually. I've had to save a lot more frequently than I usually do in these types of games, though, because this one's just instantaneous death if you fuck up.
Ooh.
Like, I went into this knowing that you have to build your characters good at the start, because if you don't, it could very likely be impossible for you to finish the game.
Damn.
So I went in, I started at first with a halfling thief, and I'm like, oh, this should be cool. And then I'm like, oh, there's romances in this, and they're strictly limited to certain like races and genders. Okay, let's restart this. So I rolled it was a female halfling, which from what I understand, I think there's only one same-sex relationship in Baldur's Gate 2, which your characters carry over into.
Yeah, and that's like a DLC you buy.
Yeah.
People were upset about that for some reason.
Hey, look, man,
like,
I paid like $1.50 for Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, both of the enhanced editions.
Yeah, same.
Like, hey, fuck it. It's $1.50. That's got everything in it. Why not? But yeah, so I re-rolled and made a new character that was an elf ranger, because that's the one thing I don't like, is that classes are tied to your race. That annoys me.
What you can be.
Yeah, like I can't be a halfling ranger or a gnome ranger.
Well, oh wait. Yeah, never mind. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, like that annoyed me, and I know it's based on the rule set from D&D, second edition. But that irritates me a bit, is that it's locked like that. Because I wanted to, I'm like, oh man, I can recreate one of my D&D characters. I can recreate my gnome ranger. Nope, can't do that. Gnomes cannot be rangers. They're mostly spellcasters and maybe a fighter or a thief. So I'm like, well, fuck this then. All right, no gnome. Try halfling. Find out the romance issue, and then I'm like, fuck it, let's go elf. I'll go elf ranger then, because romance, and I did want to be a ranger from the start anyway. So I'm doing that right now. I may or may not do another playthrough at some point or another, because I was really tempted by the idea of a half-orc barbarian in that as well. So I don't know. It all depends. A, on how long this is, and B, how much I want to go back through it a second time. So we'll see how that goes. But I definitely want to get through this and then do Baldur's Gate 2. I'm not sure if I want to do Neverwinter Nights. I haven't picked that one up yet, but I'm sure it'll be just as cheap. And then I'll be prepped for when Baldur's Gate 3 releases. Because that shit looked great on the gameplay demos that they were giving out.
Okay.
One last thing.
Okay.
Did you hear about GameStop?
Yeah, trying to stay open.
Literally claiming that they're an essential business in this situation. And I guess emailing out a flyer or something or whatever that they're supposed to show to any officers of the law that try to shut them down, which basically says, nah, fuck you, call our main offices.
Call Reggie.
I don't think Reggie will be behind this shit. He's only an advisory role.
Okay. Ryan, this week we are covering Thunderbolt Fantasy.
Damn. That's too much to eat. That's such a
broad term.
Yes, broad.
I think it may have a subtitle: Thunderbolt Fantasy, Sword Travels in the East.
How about this? How about Thunderbolt Fantasy? It's flying pirate ships and Zeppelin airships,
Like steampunky ones?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
And it's almost like that movie that came out that nobody watched, where the traveling cities on giant machines.
But they're like cities. Interesting.
I watched it. It's pretty good. It's very boring, but it's pretty neat looking.
Was that Peter Jackson?
Not sure. But floating cities, and there's one of the main ones that you follow is named Thunderbolt or something like that. The city they named, I don't know. And you follow them, and pirate shit happens.
You know what I would have also accepted, Orion? I would have accepted Disney's Bolt, but he was from the Road Rovers.
And this may be an alternate translation of it, but Thunderbolt Fantasy Sword Seekers. So that just may be a different translation.
Well, sword seekers, maybe they're looking for a pirate sword.
Cutlasses.
Easy peasy.
So, Orion, since this isn't technically anime, what do you think we'll be talking about?
Live action, terrible sci-fi channel level explosions.
How about puppets?
All right. I like puppets.
And this isn't your Frank the Goofy
Yeah.
puppet that you have. These are highly detailed Waxia Taiwanese puppets.
Okay.
And just a spoiler, this episode will be having a lot of Chinese, more so than Japanese. So we may be highly mispronouncing some of these characters' names.
Way more so than usual.
Because I'm more used to watching anime with Japanese names, and I'm like, oh, this is how it's pronounced. But with all like the lines above the vowels, I'm like, how do we repronounce this again?
Yeah, and on top of that, in my case, I keep flipping around on names and titles for people. So yeah, it's gonna get confusing. Also, here, I'm gonna drop this in the chat because it's great. For those that are listening, it is clearly Patrick with his trombone going, "Is Thunderbolt Fantasy an anime?" No, Patrick. Thunderbolt Fantasy is not an anime.
Well, it is written by Gen Orobuchi, who did Fate Zero, Psychopaths, Kamen Rider Gaim.
He's just the writer and director. That doesn't mean he's making an anime.
Right. So, except for Fate Zero, which never really got edited due to a situation with Andrew at the time, we covered all of those previously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this gets pretty intense for puppets, and this is a spin-off of a Taiwanese puppet show called Peely, which I believe is in its 35th season.
Oh my god.
Whoa.
It's running against The Simpsons.
Wait, this show?
No, Peely with
The main series.
yeah,
Thunderbolt's a
Oh.
spin-off.
Wait, Thunderbolt's a spinoff.
Yes.
Yes.
Thunderbolt's a
Okay.
spin-off.
So, same general world, but with different characters.
Okay.
So, let me just send you the...
I'm gonna be straight up while you're doing this. The choreography in this and the special effects are all pretty fucking good.
Oh, amazing.
One singular point where they use CG that I find terrible. It's short, so it's not the worst.
Yeah. I noticed that too, and I'm like, yeah, that looks a bit off.
My biggest problem I have with this over anything else is the faces. I feel like the faces seem dead. And it's puppets. Obviously you have it's a mechanical problem. The puppets are only so big, you can't give them any real facial information.
Here we go, it's in the chat.
The most they have is like a little bit of lip movement, which, as far as I can tell, is only ever used when a special effect is needed from it. When they're actually talking, it makes it very difficult to tell whether it's inner monologue or not, because I don't see lip flaps going.
Yeah.
And their eyes open and close. So that's you don't have very much in the way of facial expressions. Which is very much a detriment in my opinion.
I just YouTubed it and watched like 50 seconds of a scene. It looks really good.
Oh yeah, no, like I said, choreography and special effects are all really great. It's like just it's just the facials.
Yeah, they just look like porcelain dolls, but
yeah,
it's cool. Like definitely not something I've never seen before.
Although
that's freaking awesome.
I was gonna say apparently it was dubbed at some point. If you want to go off of there, Brandon.
Yes, I think it was around the mid-aughts with a show called I think it was called Woolen Warriors, which takes season 25-ish of the Peely and gives it a comedy dub. And from what I understand, this may be at the same time the whole CN Real fiasco was going on, but it did horribly. And only 3 of the 30
Oh my
episodes-
fucking god. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the dub. They literally redid everything, it seems like. Like, even sound effects and shit was redubbed.
of Woolen.
Like- Yeah. Like, the sound effects sound like straight up out of a regular cartoon.
And although Sean
And the music is rapping. The music is fucking like a rap song.
and
Oh god.
Sean Schimmel is in it, he voices a character that was initially a mute. So,
Oh.
yeah. And if anybody is interested in more of this, after we're finished discussing this, there are 2 seasons out now, with a 3rd season out sometime this year. And there is on Netflix a remake of Peely Season 6.
That's so weird that they
Called, I believe, Peely Fantasy War of the Dragons.
That's weird they just picked a random season.
Maybe the Taiwanese seasons are a little bit more self-contained.
Okay.
This deals with a group of adventurers trying to find this magical sword.
Well, I don't know if they're trying to find the sword so much as prevent the villain from getting the sword.
True. Because the sword is split into 3 parts. The blade is King Arthur style, shoved into a stone. The older brother has the hilt of the sword, or the handle, and the sister has the sword guard.
Yeah, the cross guard.
Once all 3 parts are put together, the sword can be removed. And unlimited power? Or so we think.
Unlimited power.
Crap, I think I may have closed the wrong notepad window.
Nah, good job.
There it is. Oh, and what makes this half complicated is
Only half.
everybody has, or almost everybody has, 2 names. Their given name and a name that, a badass nickname. Like, the main villain is called the Bones of Creation.
Yep, and I will never remember his actual name. That is the only one I know, his Bones of Creation. Because they never refer to him as it. Except for, like, right in the start, and then right at the end. So I will never remember what his name actually is.
And there's one guy who is under an alias for nearly, like, 80% of the anime. He's like, oh, I'm just a monk who's doing nothing by himself. I'm
Well,
a thief. I want to do this.
the only problem with that is that it very much from the start feels like it's an alias. It doesn't seem like he's actually, trying to hide that that's not who he is. Every time they meet up with somebody that he's like trying to recruit into this merry band of idiots, they're like, "Oh, is that the name you're going by now? Well, all right, fine, we'll call you that." And it's like, yeah, this definitely doesn't seem suspicious at all.
Oh, Enigmatic Gale. Oh, so you're going by a different name now. Oh, fair enough.
Oh, what's that? We're calling you Gui now this time? All right, cool. We'll go with that then.
And what makes it more confusing is TV Tropes also has their Taiwanese name on, since there is a Taiwanese dub of this. And how this came about, Dan Oribuchi loved Peely, so he was saying, I want to make a Japanese version of this. Let's just see here. The Bones of Creation's real name is Mai Tenhai.
Say it. Come again?
Mai Tenhai, or the Bones of Creation.
That sounds badass.
A lot of these people have badass names.
Is it like a giant bone monster?
He's human.
Oh, okay.
All
He's
of these
also made
people
of
are
bone.
human. Like, there's the sharp-eyed Impaler,
Mhm.
Knight's Lament, and the Screaming Phoenix Killer.
Mm-hmm. And then by the end, the Edge's blade.
Which I found hilarious that he was like, oh, I kind of like that.
Are you kidding me? What the fuck?
What?
Hold on. I'm trying to remember what these things are fucking called. Shit. No. I found a figure of them, and it's like the short chibi ones. I forget what they're called. Of one of the characters from Thunderbolt. And I'm like, I can't believe there's actually a fucking figurine of this thing. Keep the audience busy. Come on.
Yay!
Nendoroids. That's what there are. It's a Nendoroid figure.
Oh, okay.
There's a Nendoroid figure for. Let me open this in new tab. For Betsu Tenhai. That's his name, I think.
Oh, that looks nice.
It doesn't look like a puppet.
The top of the head looks like James from Pokemon.
Jesse. James.
So, Dan Fei and her nameless brother,
Uh-huh.
I think, got a name in like production, art, and stuff, but they're trying to run away from the Black Demon sect so that they could keep their sword pieces from being stolen. Dan Fei's brother shoves her off the edge of a cliff to save her life after he's dealt a fatal blow from Bones of Creation. And
Oh, that's right. I remember that scene, and I was just thinking literally, oh hey, it's just Piccolo. It's just Piccolo and Gohan. All right, got it.
just some of the sword effects and the attacks they use, since they do have not beams, but like light swords, elemental strikes,
Mm-hmm.
all sorts of weird craziness is on here. We have Shang, the Wanderer, who is going through a town, comes across We Now and says, like, hey, looks like it's going to rain. You shouldn't have taken that umbrella from Buddha. Like, fate will frown upon you.
Something like that.
And then Shang is attacked by the Black Demon sect, who were chasing Faye. So they fight, and the three of them must go and band together to recruit more members so they could get to the Seven Sin Tower so they could prevent the sword from being unsheathed.
Because apparently the sword is like some legendary Excalibur blade that's super powerful. And on top of that, Gui Now, our good buddy, is basically saying like, oh hey, he'll come back to us, don't you worry, even though Shang's being like a tsundere fuck.
He was a little bit tsundere throughout most of this, saying, hey, I want to take my own path, I don't want friends, fine, I'll go with you.
He's been very soon.
There is a character who only has one fight. He dies to Screaming Phoenix Killer.
Hey, that's somebody's name?
Yes.
Title. It's a title.
Okay.
His real name is Shao Wu Sheng.
But again, nobody calls him that.
Screaming Phoenix Killer.
Like, I think it's all of 2 lines that actually give out his real name.
Oh, there is a character that you didn't really like that much, the Frozen Wonder.
Yeah, he's kind of annoying, and he's kind of meant to be because he's like new to the whole hero bullshit.
Young and inexperienced, but
Yep.
they have a lot of the Black Demon sect on the other side of the shore, and Screaming Phoenix Killer turns to Frozen Wonder and says, man, if somebody would take them all down, they'd be the person that outdid Screaming Phoenix Killer. I want that to be me! So he jumps out of the boat, runs across the water, and attempts to take on the entire 30, 40 soldiers himself.
Keep in mind, most of these are all cannon fodder anyway, so it wouldn't be that hard. Or at least it shouldn't be that hard.
Oh.
I think there's like, at that point, I think there's 2 guys that are actually a threat before Betsu Tengai shows
both
up.
of Creation's top henchmen.
Yeah, until he shows up at the end and just like puts a stop to everything and just like, oh, this is going to be hilarious. I'm just gonna sit back and watch all of this play out. Go on, see if you can catch me if you can. Oh. Also, if you didn't like get this already, everybody's a fucking Bishi boy, which means they're all pretty boys.
There is one guy, I wish he would have stayed around a little bit longer. How he unsheaths his sword, he fires it out like a missile, it bounces off a rock, and he catches it. I found that to be amazing. I'm like, whoa, I want to see that again. Just the level of action that comes from these puppets.
Mm-hmm. And they probably have to like storyboard it out too, to be like, all right, how's this scene gonna work? What are we gonna cut to? You know, where are the positions of the puppets? They probably had to storyboard it first before they actually like did all the actual puppetry in it and shit. Yeah. Like, do we cut to like the foot stepping on the ground and turning to pivot his position? You know, do we cut to his face as he like starts to squint his eyes, if that's what you want to call it, because the faces are terrible when it comes to animation. And it's impressive too, because some of those hands and shit for the puppets, literally it shows them like being able to clench their hands. Like the mechanics of the hand are straight up like a human's at that point. But the faces, no, we can't do that. And it disappoints me a bit at that point, because it's just like, come on, man. You literally give the hands so much articulation, you can see it go from like a straight hand to a clenched fist, but your faces are still just porcelain dolls.
Oh, during his introduction, Sharp-Eyed Impaler, who is a average, well, not average because he's superior, but a regular archer using a regular bow and arrow, snipes somebody from halfway across the forest.
Let's also not forget that his bow has blades on it, so he can fight straight up with other sword wielders.
Yeah.
Also, he has an eye patch, hence the one eye.
So, anything you want to know about this?
Honestly, it sounds badass, and I'm probably gonna watch it tonight.
You got what, 26 episodes?
As of now, but we're only really covering the first season.
Well, that's what I mean, based on what we covered. 26 episodes for season 1. Regular full-length episode.
13 for season 1.
Oh, is it? Okay, 13 for season 1. Regular full-length episodes, so, you know, about 25 minutes-ish.
And a third season is coming out sometime this year?
Hey, don't expect anyone but 2 characters to ever return. Actually, 3. 3 might return.
Although I did hear in season 2, Faye and Frozen Wonder show up.
I was thinking it would be the what was it? The demon girl. I forget her name.
I am. What was her name? Ninth Lament.
That's it. I would think she'd show up because she literally disappeared before the end of the series. Like, straight up gone.
maybe she's in season 3?
Maybe. She's a villain that's been left open-ended. She can show up at any point.
And you were saying that this story slightly reminds you of Seven Samurai?
The start of it feels very much like Seven Samurai. Or Samurai 7, that other anime we did.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the point where, like, Gui Now is like, all right, cool. If you join us, I'll let you kill me at the end. That is exactly the kind of shit that happened in Samurai 7. There are also 7 of them.
And the fact that they're recruiting less than honorable people?
Mm-hmm. Well, at the time, we didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, except for Knight's Lament.
Yeah, that one we knew from the start.
Because, spoiler, Sharp-Eyed Impaler is an asshole.
Oh, yeah. He's all about, give me the money, but don't tell anybody, though. You know all of your conspiracy theories about people, Orion? This guy is pretty much every single one.
Okay.
Though, granted, I will give him this. At the very last minute, he's like, whoa, this is way too evil for me. Fuck this.
Yeah.
There is a point where he will, like, not go to. He does have a wall that he will not cross, like, jump over. He won't cross a certain line. And that line is literally world-ending bullshit.
He's a hero up to a certain point.
He's a villain up to a certain point.
The villain.
He's a hero who's also secretly a villain, and that villain he only goes to a certain point.
So would you say he's more of an anti-hero then?
Oh no, he's no anti-hero. He's a villain masquerading as a hero.
Okay.
Like he straight up tells, what was it, the Frozen Wonder or whatever, to be like, hey, look, man, you'll get over it. Nobody'll know what's going on here, and we'll build that name for you, buddy. That's how I did it my way. There are some things you just do, but you never tell anyone.
So after recruiting an archer, a young spear wielder,
A lancer,
Sharp-Eyed Impaler,
a lancer, a saber.
Oh my god, this is fate!
Keep going.
There's a necromancer.
You have a
caster,
caster, a necromancer.
Oh.
An assassin.
Yes, the
Screaming Phoenix Killer is an
assassin.
Holy shit.
I just think that name is funny.
Screaming Phoenix Killer.
The only thing we don't have at this point is the rider class and a berserker. That's it. Actually, no. Faye Dawn Faye is technically a berserker once we get up to the Seven Sins Tower. She becomes a berserker. We're just missing a rider class. And technically, if you want to count Gui Now, since he started riding those goddamn, like, undead pterodactyls or whatever.
Maybe. Oh, but it's cool because, Bones of Creation can summon these skeletal birds by throwing this bone ribcage boomerang into the air, and, like, the vibrations through the air, like, summons a bird, and he just lifts up his arm and gets carried off by it.
Oh god, there's so many bullshit details in this. I think we're better off just skipping toward the end where we find out that, like,
hold on. So, because they need some of these people for their expertise, like, they need the necromancer, because on the way to Seven Sins Tower, they come across this, not Wasteland of the Undead, because that was what Shang faced, that nobody believed he did. Basically, they need to...
No, it was Wasteland of Spirits was the one he crossed.
Right.
Is what they called it.
This
might be Wasteland of the Undead. It's something like that.
Okay, so they need to face down all these zombies that are guarding Seven Sins Tower. So
Think of it this way, all right? Think of it this way. The only way to get there is passing through 3 trials. Wasteland of the Undead, or whatever it is actually called. The Valley of Desolation, or something like that, where
Which
there's this
has a giant
golem.
golem that they need to fight.
And then the final one, which was like some kind of labyrinth.
That you need a special flute in order to get through.
Otherwise, there's like weird ass portals in there, and who knows where the fuck you'll end up if you get into the wrong portals.
But the thing is, he doesn't want to go through it since he's a shady thief. So he steals a bone boomerang, summons a pterodactyl, and just flies over it.
See, here's the thing. If Shang hadn't been like, fuck off, I'm doing this on my own at that point, and then found that thing, would Gui now have been able to get into Seven Sins Tower without going through the labyrinth? Because his deal with Screaming Phoenix Killer was like, once you guide me through the labyrinth, I will give you my head.
I was thinking that he was always going to find a way around it.
Yeah, I'm just curious what it would have been if it wasn't for Shang finding out about birds.
Oh, and just glancing through my notes, something that, back in episode 1, Bones of Creation can see people's memories through their severed head.
Oh yeah, that never came back, did it? That was a little tidbit of power that never showed up again. He did that once.
Oh my god.
Why didn't he just kill Gui now and use that ability? He would have known immediately what the hell was going on.
Or when he kills Screaming Phoenix Killer.
Yeah.
Damn, spoilers.
Yes.
I mean, we're getting there. We're getting there.
Just for season 1.
Okay.
But yeah, there's an ability that he could have used right there that would have bypassed so much of this plot. He clearly didn't trust Gui now at all. Why didn't he just kill him and read his mind?
Yeah, because of all like the Batman gambits that were going on.
Yeah, I forgot about that little tidbit. That little ability of his right there throws a lot of this plot into the dumpster.
Because Gui says, hey, I stole the actual guard from Li Fang.
Yeah, he literally had given the Bones of Creation, once he turns traitor, he gives the Bones of the Creation a fake cross guard, one that he swapped out for the real one, and he had hidden the real one. So then the question is, why don't you just execute the guy and read his fucking mind? Like, he's a thief. You don't trust him to begin with. He has there's no honor between them either way. Like, even if that would be like your justification, the honor system. It's like, but he's a thief. He's a good thief, but a thief would have no honor. Therefore, executing him should be just fine.
So he was like, hey.
Also, you're a villain, so fuck everything else.
I hid it back at Limitless Temple, but nobody knows I did it. So they need to go back to Limitless Temple to find the cross guard. But here's the thing. Since Gui now is a thief, he wants the handle for himself, since he really has no intention on actually letting Bones get the cross guard. But Bones knew he was going to deceive him, so on the way to the Limitless Temple, Bones takes the handle and keeps it on his person.
I know you know what I know, so I know that you know that I know, that I know that you know that you knew, that I know that you know.
Batman Gambit.
Oh my fucking god.
But one thing that I found interesting, Gui now has this cloth that can change your face.
Well, specifically, It can change your face into his face. That's it.
So he sends Shang with Bones of Creation to go to Limitless Temple to find where Gui hid the cross guard. But Shang doesn't know, so he's a lousy actor.
I mean, he told Shang where it was hidden.
Yeah.
Shang knows. He could have killed Shang and just read his mind too.
Oh, but one funny thing, I think one of my favorite Shang lines back in episode 2 or 3, as he was walking through the town, seeing all the wanted posters for him, he says, they could have drawn me more handsome.
Oh, jeez. Forgot about that line. That line's dumb.
Hey, I kind of liked it because it showed that he was kind of cocky.
I mean, it does. I'm not gonna say it's wrong. I don't like it personally.
Is
like that
is
kind
he
of
like
attitude.
a arrogant pretty boy or something? That character?
I don't know if arrogant is the right word for it.
Dumb?
Definitely not dumb.
Okay.
Maybe it's because that he's like too aloof
Okay.
about everything that's going on. Like, oh, these guys are gonna try and come after me. Well, I just kill their boss, then it's done. He's making things sound way too simple, I guess would be the way to put it.
And then near the end, we find out that the magic sword that is the Han Ying Jen sword didn't exactly kill a demon.
Yeah, here's a little, sorry, we kind of pissed away at this point. So this sword is one of many swords that were at one point used to seal away the demons, drive them back to their own realm at some far off point in time, right? Supposedly, this one is like the most powerful because it actually killed one. It didn't just drive it off. And the whole reason the Bones of Creation wants it is because it's like, I want to have a sword worthy of myself because I'm the greatest.
He also has a rather large sword collection.
Yes. Which all will be shit when he gets this one.
But the Tan Jing's Jen, and I know I'm mispronouncing that,
What's your name?
actually is a
Gesundheit?
lie. It sealed the demon. It didn't kill it. And now that this is...
Now that the sword is freed after 10,000 years, she can finally take over the world.
And after 200 years, this sword is finally removed, and the demon is now free again.
Yep.
Damn. Is it the demon was in the sword?
Underneath the sword. The sword was basically the key to the seal.
Oh, okay.
And with it removed, it basically unlocked the seal.
So does the sword like damage the demon at all? Is that what it's basically was made for? Is also a key? Is it like one of those type things? Yeah.
It's not very clear.
Okay.
Because the sword is never used against the demon. It in fact is destroyed before it even gets the chance to do anything.
Yeah, Bones of Creation says, like, hey, now that the demon is free, my plan is now to throw the world into chaos.
He had no idea about he didn't have any idea about the demon itself. He had no clue. He just wanted the sword. He did not give a shit whatsoever about the demon.
Oh,
okay.
And speaking about swords, and this is a big twist, Shang doesn't have a sword. He has a piece of wood painted silver that everybody thinks is a sword.
It's carved to look like a sword, and then painted to make it look like one even more.
Because instead of slashing, he more just chops at people with it. So his fighting style really doesn't seem like he's fighting with a sword.
Oh.
And that's been hinted at a few times by some of the other characters. What was it? The Screaming Phoenix Killer was the first one to really notice something was off with the way he was fighting. Then Gui Now, after inspecting the sword, realizes what it is. And then we finally get the revelation later on when our preppy young idiot finds it. What's that?
I'm not too sure if you noticed this, but when he would sheath his sword in a few episodes prior, it wouldn't shink, it would more clunk.
The sound effects?
I mean, I kind of assumed that was because the way it looked, the sheath was wooden. I assumed it was because of a wooden sheath. I did notice it, but I didn't really put together that the sword itself was wood, not just the sheath.
Okay.
Because I did hear clunk, and I'm like, wait, what?
Well, yeah, clearly the sheath is wood, and so is the handle. Actually, the handle's wood.
Does somebody just go clunk for the sound effects?
Great. I wish it was.
Clunk.
I wish it was just a coconut sound.
Oh, Monty Python.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no horses in there. We can use it to shink our swords in. That'll work.
Shink. Clunk. Clunk.
But Shang has one last secret. That he has a collection of magical swords in a scroll that he uses against the final demon.
Oh shit! So he's
Speaking of which, this is where a bad CG kicks in too. Or the demon opens its mouth and a bunch of CG tentacles come flying out.
Yao
and it looks bad.
And this dude pulls out his scroll and
he whips out his scroll Naruto style and is just like, all right, which awesome sword do I want to use today?
And he's just scrolling through it like it's an iPhone texture.
And he just summoned. He can only summon one at a time, or
he only chooses one. He doesn't pull any others out. I don't know if he can pull out more than one at a shot.
I thought he just had a army of swords, like 8 swords just floating around.
No, that's Shiro from Fate's Stay Night.
Okay.
Or technically Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh would do that too.
What's really interesting is in the Taiwanese dub, the demon is voiced male, but in Japanese it's voiced female.
I mean, it might be the idea that gender isn't exactly a thing in demons.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they could straight up just choose what gender they want to be. Or how they appear. Like, it's strictly told to us that, like, in the sense of life and death, demons don't apply the same way. Like, their versions of that are completely different than ours. So if you actually, like, kill it in the normal sense of, like, a human's idea of death, they're probably still alive and not actually, permanently not moving.
But what's interesting is this new sword is now the new seal. And instead of just pinning it underneath the sword, putting it into a coma-like state, Shang's sword absorbs the demon and sends it into goddamn space.
I mean, the way he made it sound, he sealed it in a pocket dimension.
Oh shit!
Like it sounded straight up like Cthulhu-y, the way it was put. That thing's in a pocket dimension somewhere.
And he said the seal will remain for 100 years, and then this door will completely close.
Yeah, I mean, you rip a hole in space-time. It's gonna take some. It's gonna take some effort for that to heal.
So after 100 years, the sword can safely be removed?
Yes.
So he has 35 other magical swords that he will use in future seasons, each of which I assume are incredibly powerful.
That's also assuming he doesn't, just get more or get new ones.
Maybe. So it ends with everybody going their separate ways, and Faye is now with Frozen Wonder. They're officially a couple after Frozen Wonder hitting on her almost the entire season.
Mm-hmm.
awkwardly hitting on her. So, and it ends with Shang walking off and Gui following him. So, leading
Gui doesn't care about him. He's curious about the guys he's gonna meet.
to season 2,
Mm-hmm.
I will potentially be watching.
And you guys said
sometime.
it's coming out when?
Unknown
Or
for
there's
season
no
3.
unknown? Okay.
But season 1 dropped 2016, season 2 dropped 2018.
Where can people watch it? Same
Crunchyroll.
I saw Crunchyroll has it.
Crunchyroll? Okay.
Well,
Most of
there's
these I go on Crunchyroll.
YouTube
That's
is out in chunks, so like there's a lot of.
yeah, I saw like scene 1 for season. It was season 1, scene 1, episode
yeah.
1, season
like,
1,
that's the
episode 1,
first
scene
scene.
1. Yeah, and it looked awesome. So I'm probably gonna watch that tonight.
Yeah, my only complaint is the gratuitous amount of Chinese in the subtitles just threw me off a little bit. Like, who was that again? When they use their real name instead of their nickname?
Yeah, that is the confusing bit. Is definitely the names, and also not being sure whether it's internal dialogue, monologue, or if it's them talking. Because there are points when, especially with the young dude, the Frozen Wonder, where I'm never sure if he's speaking in a inner monologue or not.
They don't do like the edit where how it kind of like has an echo or like you know what I mean?
Nope.
And they do okay. They don't adjust any
Nope.
to make it sound like they're not talking.
Nope. Not at all.
Okay.
There is nothing to indicate which is which.
Maybe that's just the department that dealt with that. They might have not had enough money to, or have enough time. Maybe I don't know.
It
To like
could
edit
be.
it like
I don't
that.
know. It seemed like there was a good chunk of money put behind this, though, because I think you looked at it, Brandon.
Yeah, I think I saw this season had $10 million behind it.
Wow. Well,
it had a lot.
I've never seen a show with like marionettes. That's like what it is.
And
Essentially.
I believe this is called Wuxia, Wuxia, and it is very popular in Taiwan. They have like a bunch of material out there. Like they'll make Wuxia movies all the time. Oh, and speaking about that, there are also 2 feature-length Thunderbolt fantasy movies that came out between 1 and 2 and 2 and 3 that I think maybe backstory and side stories, but nothing super important.
Okay. Wait, do they don't have any like filler episodes, right?
No.
Not as far as I'm aware.
No. And I think I initially found this when you and I, Brandon, were watching Godfrey Ho movies.
Oh, God.
And a lot of them, for some reason, had Thunderbolt in it. Like Scorpion Thunderbolt, Action Thunderbolt. And then I found Thunderbolt Fantasy with puppets. I'm like, what is this? Oh my god, this looks badass. I want to watch this.
I tried to forget that Godfrey Ho exists, and you just keep bringing it back up.
That, Tommy Wiseau, and Chuck Tingle.
I hate
weirdness.
I hate that you had to bring up Chuck Tingle. I hate.
All right, so is that the end of the episode?
Yes. So, next time, it seems that the Nasuverse is having a carnival.
I take it in the butt by the anime I just wrote.
Uh,
A carnival?
Yes, the Nasuverse is having a carnival. Everybody's invited, and it's gonna be fun.
Is it going to be like the Juggalo carnival?
Oh,
The Gathering of the
stay
Juggalos.
tuned for next time.
All right.
So I guess that's it for all of us. Stay healthy, everybody, and we'll see you then. Later.
See you.
See ya.